Well, so now we have to look at what the stories are as they have been outlined or perhaps displayed on the news portals we have around prominently. Well, we start with myjoyonline.com because they have the newspaper headlines summarized in there. And so quickly we'll just go in, take a look at what the stories are. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have, for example, the main story, Constitution Review challenge shut down. And apparently the Constitution Review Committee is in the news again because the Supreme Court on Wednesday dismissed an application that sought to challenge the legality of the Constitution Review Commission set up to review the 1992 Constitution. The other story we have is about gas supply and its supply from the West African Gas Pipeline Company to the Volta River Authority will be cut by midnight today, we're told, Thursday, October 15, 2015, if the VRA fails to pay a debt of some $103 million owed by the VRA to the company. Interesting, for a whole company to put together a press conference and answer questions means that, I guess, the matter has reached a certain crescendo. We also have minority questions, Ghana's debt stock, because they've accused government of not being forthright or truthful about the economy's debt, as far as the country's debt stock, so to speak. They feel that government has been massaging whatever correct information needs to be given to the public. And Vice President inaugurates medical outreach in Cape Coast. And the Vice President, Cape Coaster himself, Kwesi Amissah-Arthur, on Wednesday launched the second national medical outreach services in Cape Coast in the central region, with the affirmation that the government will continue to invest in the health sector to safeguard the health of the people. On the front page of the next paper we're looking at is the Daily Guide. It has the lead story, NDC government chops 914 million Ghana cedis of SNIT cash. And we brought that to you adequately in our news also. And according to the minority in Parliament, following that very press conference that they convened, it was also because they had to look at it from the communication with the IMF. That they chanced upon. A change register, that is if, says Rawlings, and prostitute robs minister in hotel. Okay, a former Northern Regional Minister who allegedly solicited the services of a lady believed to be a prostitute has ended up losing his Ford 4x4 vehicle in Accra. Well, serves him right, I guess.
But how is that related? I'm just wondering. He lost the vehicle because he was, I don't know.
The headline. The next story, Business Finder has a story, 3 years of unpaid salaries, no money or system failure. I'm talking about employees in government payroll, who have not been paid adequately. And apparently government borrows 125 million Ghana cedis from domestic market, and 10 districts identified as poor. And some of them mainly are the Volta, Bunafo, Northern Region, among the poorest. Yeah, I agree. Following a survey though, the Ghana Poverty mapping report. So we also have other headlines from Today newspaper and the BNFT. So that's where we're going to end as far as some of the look at some of the stories on the various news portals, especially myjoyonline.com.
Okay, I think the story says the lady robbed the man, right?
Yes.
After the, I'm interested. I want to read the details of it.
Please.
Okay, so a boy drowns in Kumasi stream. This is a story I'm picking from myjoyonline.com. Quickly, a 12-year-old boy on Wednesday drowned in a stream near Kumasi High School at Jenyas in Kumasi. It took police and fire service personnel about 2 hours to retrieve the body of the yet-to-be-identified boy after some rituals by traditional authorities. The victim is believed to have gone swimming with other colleagues after school when disaster struck at about 3 p.m. Very, very sad story there. One story this other story from myjoyonline.com. Professor Asare livid about non-serious ruling on constitutional review. Just a little bit of it for you for better understanding. Professor Stephen Kwaku Asare has waived his right to appeal against the non-serious decision by the Supreme Court to dismiss his challenge against the constitutionality of the Constitution review process. He told John News it will be a pointless exercise to go for a review after convincing himself that the judges would not change their mind. I guess what we're looking for now is the reason for the decision. A 7-member Supreme Court panel chaired by Chief Justice Georgina Wood dismissed his case by a 5-2 decision. We want details of that, which I'm sure will be coming up very soon. One story from City FM Online, 155 journalists, the Media Foundation for West Africa petitioned Mahama to punish Stan Dugbe. So President John Dramani Mahama has been petitioned by some 155 journalists from over 40 media houses demanding punitive action against presidential staffer Stan Dugbe. The petition, spearheaded by the Media Foundation for West Africa, follows an alleged assault by Mr. Dugbe on Yahya Kwamwa, a journalist working with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Is the president waiting for things like this in order to punish somebody who did allegedly an act like that? We wait to see. Okay, two stories from the BBC. I'll take the Ebola first. One on Ebola, something that we didn't want to hear. Ebola lingers in semen for 9 months. A bit of it for you here. And it says that the reports, okay, so Ebola persists in the semen of male survivors much longer than previously thought. That's according to a study. The report in the New England Journal of Medicine found 2/3 of men had Ebola in their semen after 6 months and a quarter after 9. A separate study in the same journal reports Ebola being spread through sex, with a survivor 6 months after their symptoms had started. Men who have survived Ebola are being encouraged to wear condoms. Oh my God, Ebola simply won't go away. Previous outbreaks of Ebola had shown the virus was present in semen for 82 days after the onset of symptoms. So that's an issue which is very critical that we have to definitely keep an eye on.
It is.
People who thought they were Ebola free, only to realize that they could pass it on to somebody else.
But they don't get critically ill again, is that it? But they have the virus in the system.
Exactly.
Because
so what does it mean? What does it mean?
Yeah. Does it mean you can get sick again? Well, I think this is as serious as it is. It reminds me things about HIV, hepatitis, and things like that. They're all viral diseases, you know.
Yeah. To think that we can't uproot this completely, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm worried.
I'm worried too.
Yeah. Can it come back and worry you again? I mean, how else
because
can you
never
spread
know.
it to somebody?
You go and meet some nice man, Charlie.
Yeah.
The man gets Ebola for his system inside. It was serious.
Charlie. Okay, so something to smile, laugh about. I don't know how serious it is. You remember the Ghanaians, some Ghanaian supporters who went to Brazil and decided not to come back to Ghana? Okay.
It's a Ghana, we're in terrible state. Religious conflict.
Yeah.
Ethnic conflict.
Okay.
Right.
This one is even more serious. 10 players from the Eritrean football team have refused to return home after playing a World Cup qualifying match in Botswana and are now seeking asylum there. The men were detained by police after deciding not to board their plane. They are reported to have refused to go home despite the intervention of the Eritrean ambassador in Botswana. Okay. Botswana is like London, isn't it? Or is it like Brazil?
It's just that
it's a better place, isn't it?
Yeah, they do very well as a country. They're doing very well. If you look at the economic index, they do very well. Just within the Southern African region. So, yeah.
But I thought Eritrea was cool too.
No, it's not. It's not. For many, you get to find a lot more of the Eritreans involved in that very sojourn, especially from the Mediterranean to Italy, Lampedusa, and some of those places.
Yeah.
They have their citizens mainly involved.
Okay. So question, how many football supporters, or maybe not footballers because we haven't heard, we would have heard about it if it had happened, how many supporters have come to Ghana and refused to go back to their countries?
It depends on which country they would come from. So far, we haven't had any.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in Ghana, even when you come, we don't have that sort of system that tends to check. You can just easily...
Just come and stay and nobody would know.
Yes.
Unless maybe if you want a passport or something.
You can just integrate into the system and nobody will notice. Yes.
Okay. All right, we've got more sports news coming up. Some manager in England is being punished. He called for it and he's getting it. Details with Baba Tondo here on the AM Show. Stay with us.
We'll be right back.